Welcome to Mobile Math, Math Lessons on the Go. Today's learning goal: by the end of this lesson, I should be able to divide positive numbers that have a remainder. And again, this is without the use of a calculator, so remainder is a new word for us, and we'll explore what that means. So up until now, all of our division problems have always worked out so that there was a perfect whole number answer, so no decimals or anything like that. We will now start to look at division problems that have a remainder or an amount left over after we have done our repetitive subtraction. So if we look at 9 divided by 2, so we need to know how many groups of 2 fit inside a 9. So we'll explore that on the next slide. So here we go. So I have 9 squares here, and I've colored them differently so you can see where they end up, with special attention on the light colored blue one we'll have to look at. So I have 9 squares, and if I look at case 1, I want to divide it into 2 equal groups. So if I split up my 4 yellow and my 4 white into 2 equal groups, so each group is getting 4 whole units to start. And then I'm left with this guy right here, this blue square that causes me some trouble. If I have to split that into each group, I have to cut it in half. So if I cut that in half and I give each group half, I am left with a total of 4 whole units and 1 half unit, or 4.5. If I look at 9 divided by 2 from a case 2 perspective, so how many groups of 2 are there in a group of 8? Well, we can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 full groups of 2, and then I get to this blue guy at the end, and it doesn't make a full group. It makes 1 out of 2, or half of a group. So again, my answer would be 1, 2, 3, 4 full groups and half of a group. So the answer is still 4.5. If I look at this from a group subtraction standpoint, so how many groups of 2 fit into 9? Well, 4 groups of 2 would give me an 8. If I subtract that, I'm left with 1 on the bottom here. So I have 4 complete groups of 2. I have 1 left over, and I need a full 2 units to continue subtracting. So I have less than 2 units, so I can't keep subtracting 2's from this. So I have 1 out of 2. Therefore, I have 4 complete groups of 2 and 1 out of a group of 2, and it would look like that. There's our 4.5 again. So 9 divided by 2 is the same as 4.5, or 4 whole units and 1 out of 2 partial units. Okay, so some new terms: dividend, divisor, quotient, and remainder. You may wish to pause the video here and just take a second and read all that. The key things: the divisor is what we're dividing by. The remainder, that's what's left over after we've done all of our repetitive subtraction. Our dividend, that's what is being divided. And quotient, we've actually explored a little bit. That's always been our answer. And you can see here that's the whole number answer, but that's not a complete answer, as we can see that with the introduction of the remainder concept, our answers now will have potentially a quotient and a remainder. So let's take a look at 19 divided by 6. So how many sixes are there in a group of 19? So I've done a group subtraction here, and I can see there are 3 complete groups of 6 that fit into 19. So there's my total of 18 right there. When I subtract those, I have 1 left over. So 3 complete groups of 6, 1 left over. I need 6 full units to continue subtracting, so I have 1 out of 6. Therefore, I have 3 complete groups and 1 out of a group of 6, or 3 and a sixth, if we want to say that from a fraction standpoint. Find the quotient or answer for the following. So again, our quotient term is going to change a little bit or be modified a little bit. So how many 11s are there in 26? So if I do a group subtraction, I can see that 2 groups of 11 fit inside 26 right here. I'm left with 4 as a remainder. So I have 2 complete groups of 11. I have 4 left over. I need 11 full units to continue subtracting, but I only have 4 out of that 11. So my final answer here would be 2 and 4/11ths with a TH on there. So two groups, two whole groups of 11, and a partial group of 4/11ths. All right, last example. So we have 191 divided by 14. So how many 14s are there in 191? So I've already gone ahead and done the group subtraction again. So if I go through this, 10 groups of 14 is 140. So when I subtract that, I'm left with 51. I can subtract 3 more groups of 14, and that gives me 42. And when I subtract those, I end up with 9 as my remainder. So I have 13 complete groups of 14. I have 9 left over as remainder. I needed 14 full units to continue subtracting. I only have 9 out of what I need, so 9 out of 14. So therefore, I have 13 complete groups of 14 and 9 out of a group of 14. So when we look at that, that is 13 and 9/14. So how many 14s are there in 191? There are 13 full 14s and 9 out of 14 remaining. If you could pause the video here and find the quotient or the answer for the following, and there may or may not be a remainder for all of these. So if you could press pause now, please. Okay, welcome back. So let's take a quick look here. How many 10s fit inside 216? Well, I might be pretty comfortable saying there are 21 10s for 210. When I subtract those, I am left with 6 left over. So 6 is not enough to keep subtracting 10s. So my answer here would be 21 and 6/10. Now, depending on where you are with your fraction knowledge, you may also write this as 21 and 3/5. So I've used the lowest term fraction. Carrying on to the second one, how many 13s fit inside 392? Well, I can see pretty quickly there are 30, and that gives me my 390. When I subtract those, I have 2 left over. So I have 30 full units and 2 out of 13 partial units. And lastly, I have 120 divided into 4,704. Whew, big numbers. So I'm going to start with, I might do this with long division. I see 3 groups of 120 fit inside 470. When I subtract those, I get 1,104 left over. So how many groups of 120 fit into there? 9. So that gives me 1,080. I subtract those, I have 24, I believe, left over, and now that's not enough to keep subtracting. So my final answer would be 39 whole units and 24 120ths. Now again, you may wish to reduce this if you're at that point with your fraction knowledge. So I can see that 4s go into there, and I may even reduce even further and end up with 39 and 1/5. So thank you for watching. Please watch again and pause where you may have had difficulties, and good luck in your future math problems.